What if I told you that you could convert 8 to 12% of your website traffic into loyal email subscribers without having to spend a dime on paid ads? In this video, I'm going to share with you the exact Klaviyo sign-up form strategy that I use for more than 40 plus e-commerce brands within my own agency to grow their email list and to triple their email revenue. And by the end of this video, you'll know how to create high converting sign-up forms and implement it for your own e-commerce brand so you can turn your website visitors into long-term customers for your brand, setting your store up for massive success through email marketing. Let's dive into it. So what are we going to discuss today? So first of all, why having a high converting sign-up form is so important, how to create a high converting sign-up form, the top 10 mistakes you don't want to make, the top 10 A/B tests that you should run, and in this video, I'm going to share with you how you can get access to a swipe file for more than 30 high converting sign-up forms. So first of all, why having a high converting pop-up form is so important. Most people who click on your ads and land on your website aren't gonna buy straight away. 98% of the people will leave your store without leaving a trace. So they're just simply browsing, comparing, and just checking your brand out. So without a solid way to capture those people, they're just gonna leave your store without leaving a trace. And you might never see them again. And of course, you can run some retargeting ads via Facebook or Google, but that's just super expensive to run for your e-commerce store. So this is where a high converting sign-up form comes into play. So it serves as the gateway to turning those casual visitors into potential customers for your brand. So by capturing their details through an engaging and well-placed sign-up form, you're not just collecting data, you're creating an opportunity for ongoing communication. And this means that you can nurture those leads with your welcome series flow and with your email campaigns. And this way you can build trust with them and guide them towards that first purchase. And from there, you can nurture them into a repeat customer. So it's a key tool for lowering your cost per acquisition and making sure that the traffic that you're paying for doesn't just vanish. So this is the typical e-commerce funnel that I often see. And that's that brands are running top of funnel paid ads. People will visit your website. 2% of them on average will be converting and actually buying from you. But 98% of the people are leaving your store without actually purchasing. And of course, underneath there, you'll run some retargeting ads, which are super expensive. And of course, there will be some people that will be revisiting your website, but a lot of them, again, will leave your store without buying. And maybe you'll convert just a small portion of it, another 2%. But the end result is that your cost per acquisition is sky high. So that's why I always recommend this optimized e-commerce funnel where still you will be running the top of funnel paid ads. People will still visit your store via those paid ads. And still only 2% of the people will actually convert straight away, and 98% of the people will leave your store. But now we have a high converting sign-up form in place, which will capture 8 to 12% of your website traffic. And these new email subscribers, you can nurture them with your welcome series flow, which will convert 10 to 20% of your new email subscribers. And the rest of your new email subscribers, you can nurture them with your other flows and with your email campaigns, which will convert even more email subscribers. So in the end, you will have a lot more people who will actually buy from you, and your cost per acquisition will go down. And of course, everyone can set up a sign-up form because Klaviyo has a lot of default templates that you can use. But the problem with those default plug and play templates is that those templates are just not converting at the level that you want. You don't want to settle for just a 2 to 3% sign-up rate, because even then you're still leaving a lot of potential on the table. So it takes up a lot more effort, skills, and know-how to get from the 1 to 3% industry standard all the way to the 8 to 12% sign-up rate that we are aiming for, because that's what we call high converting sign-up form. And once you reach that level, you can expect to 3 times amount of people inside your email list, and you can triple your email revenue in a super easy way. And I really want to emphasize that sign-up forms are not a set it and forget it thing. So it's not that you just set up a sign-up form once and you can just leave it running for the rest of its time. You have to keep optimizing it to make sure that your sign-up rate will go up over time. So maybe you start with a sign-up rate of 4%, but by implementing A/B testing and optimizing it over time, you can increase it to that 8 to 12% region, because there's always room for improvement. So it's all about testing, iterating, and refining to push those sign-up rates to that 8 to 12% sign-up rate level. So how to create a high converting sign-up form? The most important thing of your sign-up form is to create a good offer, because that's actually the biggest game changer. So ask yourself, would you sign up for a newsletter with a bad offer? Probably not, right? So think about what could be a good offer for your audience. Actually sign up for your newsletter. So you have to make sure that you split those different kind of offers to see what resonates the best and the most with your audience. And of course, you have to remember to factor in your profit margins, sign-up rate, your welcome flow conversion rate, and the revenue attributed to your welcome flow. So what are good offers that you could test for your own brand? Think about a buy one, get one free, a a buy one, get one at 50% off, a free gift when you buy X, a free digital product, free shipping, a dollar amount off, a dollar amount off over a certain amount, percentage off over a certain amount, a percentage off when you buy a subscription, a cashback, early access to a sale, and my personal favorite, the mystery discount. So there are a lot of different softwares in the marketplace that can help you create sign-up forms. But I always recommend to stick to Klaviyo, because Klaviyo has massively improved over the last few years with their sign-up form. So there's no need to use a separate software for this. Now let's dive into a Klaviyo demo account and show you how exactly you can build a high converting sign-up form. So in this Klaviyo account, we go in the left menu to sign-up forms, and at the top right corner, we want to click create form. And at the categories, you can select if you just want to collect emails or also phone numbers or just phone numbers. And for this example, we're just going to collect an email address. And over here, you can select the type of sign-up form, and the best performing forms are the pop-up forms or the full page forms. So always make sure to split test both. For this example, we're going with just a simple pop-up form. So now you see the default Klaviyo templates, which already gives us a good base to start with. So for example, let's go with this one. Let's call this a demo desktop. And then you have to select the email subscriber list. So when people are signing up via this sign-up form, which list they are entering. For most brands, it will be the newsletter list. And then you can toggle the switch to include a teaser, which I will tell more about in a sec. Then we create the form. And now we're in the sign-up form builder. So what we're first going to do is select the targeting and behavior. So over here, you can select the timing. So when should this form be displayed? Right now, by default, it's on immediately, but that's something you don't want to do. Imagine you're visiting an e-commerce brand store and immediately you get a pop-up. That's not the experience that you want for your audience. So always want to have this selected on based on rules. So on desktop, I always go with when visitors exiting the page after time delay. And this is something that you can split test, but a good starting point is 6 seconds, and select after visitor has scrolled a certain amount. Again, this is something that should A/B test, but a good starting point is 60%. And then you can even select if person has seen a certain amount of pages. And you can toggle the switch if you want to make sure that all these selected conditions are being met before someone is getting the sign-up form. But that's something we don't want to toggle, so we leave it like this. Then the frequency, so after a visitor closes the form, show again after. The default, it's on 5 days. I like to put it on 3 days. And then devices. So that's an important thing. You always want to make sure that you have a separate mobile and a separate desktop form. So I always start with the desktop form, and then later I'm going to duplicate this form and make it more suitable for mobile, because there are some minor things that you want to adjust on mobile. And also in terms of A/B testing, we sometimes see different conclusions on mobile and desktop. So some things apply on desktop, but not on mobile. So that's why I always want to make sure to have 2 separate forms for mobile and desktop. So in this case, since this is the desktop form, we're going with desktop only. And here you can create some custom triggers, but we're not going to do that now. And then over here, you go to targeting. And then people who get this sign-up form, we select don't show to existing Klaviyo profiles, because obviously this form is not suitable for people who are already on the email list. Then you can select URLs to include or exclude. We like to exclude the sign-up form on the cart page, for example, but also on the checkout page, because these people are already on the verge of buying. So in that case, not necessary to show them a sign-up form where we give away a discount if people are already planning to buy from you at full price. And a good exclusion could be if you have a wholesale page, then you could exclude that page as well. Next up, you can select your U2M parameters, and you can select your location. So if your brand is based in the US and you only ship to the US, then obviously it makes sense to only show to visitors in the United States. And also you can exclude certain countries when necessary. So this is the targeting and behavior, so to which people we are showing the sign-up form. And now let's make the actual sign-up form. So in the right side, you see the sign-up form on how it looks. So on the left side, we have a site image, and on the right side, we have the actual sign-up form. So first of all, you want to make sure that you have an interesting image over here. So let's pick a random image. Something like this. Make sure to have an alt text. So let's say this is for Nike. Let's have an alt text Nike. Then we're going to add a logo, make people familiar. So we're going to drop an image block in here, and we're going to select the Nike logo in here. Again, make sure you have an alt text. So the alt text is the text that people see when an image isn't loading, for example. Then the structure of a good high performing sign-up form is a simple offer in the headline, 1 input field per step, a converting call to action button text, and a micro copy. Those are the elements that we want. out. So let's focus on the headline first. By default, it says unlock 20% off your first order. So if 20% off is your offer, then this would already be a good headline. Then you see by default, Klaviyo uses this sub-headline, sign up for special offers and updates. We want to make sure that the sign-up form is as clean and less frictionless as possible. So we want to get rid of elements that are not necessary. So with this sentence, sign up for special offers and updates at any value for your potential customers. I don't think so, because people already know when they sign up for your newsletter, they will be getting newsletters with special offers and stuff like that. So basically, we just want to get rid of this block. There you go. So unlock 20% off your first order. Then we have the email field. And you can change the label. By default, it's on email. I like to use something like enter your email here to make it as easy as possible for people to understand it, because the more friction you have, the less conversion you get. So you want to make sure that you don't have any friction in your sign-up form, because this will boost your conversion rate. So even a simple thing like saying enter your email here makes it way easier for people to understand what you expect from them. So that will be the placeholder text. Next up, we want to change the color of this input field, because right now we have a white background. And also the input field is white, so it doesn't really stand out. So what we're going to do, we're going to click on edit styling in here. And then at the input field text styles and input field styles over here, you can change the background color. I like to use a little bit of a gray color in this case, or something like this. So this way, this input field stands out more, easier to find for people. Again, less friction, more conversion. And of course, over here at tiles, you can also change all the font colors. So for example, for text and headings, if your font is Poppins, you can change it in here. And then if you scroll down, you can also change it for the input field, change it to Poppins as well. So over here, you can basically style it in exactly the way you want it. Then we have the call to action button. So something like get my discount now would already be a good call to action button. So my advice, and this goes for both the headline as the call to action button text, don't use words like subscribe and sign up, because in general, people don't like to sign up for things. So skip those words. Rather talk about what's in it for your audience. So in this case, unlock 20% off your first order, and then a call to action button text that says get my discount now. And there are a lot of variations that you can use for this and split test to see what converts the best for your audience, but never use something like sign up now or subscribe now. Then in this example, we have this disclaimer: by signing up, you agree to receive email marketing. If you're based in the US, it's not necessary to have this. In Europe, in the EU, it's a bit different because of the privacy rules that we have over there. But if you're based in the US, this is just simply not necessary. So we're going to want to get rid of this block as well. And then finally, we have this micro copy. So a micro copy is a text right underneath the call to action button. And basically what you want to do is give people two options, because research has shown us that if you only have one call to action button, people are way more likely to not make a choice. So to actually sign up in this case. So if you give people two options, interesting option and a not so interesting option, they're way more likely to actually make a choice and go for the better option, of course. So in this case, if the main call to action is get my discount now, a no thanks micro copy is already a good one. Again, you can split test different variations with this, but this would already be an interesting one. Let's change the font to Poppins and let's add some top padding so it looks like this. So this is already like a pretty good sign up form. So a simple headline, unlock 20% off your first order, an input field that's clearly to see, a big call to action button that says get my discount now, and a simple no thanks button. If people click on no thanks, it will just simply close the form. So one last thing that you want to adjust for this step is get rid of the X in here, because right now with the X, it's really clear and easy for people to close the form. Of course, we do want to give people the option to close the form, but we don't want to make it too easy for people, because then we're basically removing the friction for people to get rid of the form, and it will increase the chance that people actually want to leave the form. So that's why I want to get rid of this X. The way we're going to do it, we're going to change the size to 1 pixel, and over here at the color of this X button, we're going to change transparency to 0. This way people don't see it anymore like that. So now it's completely gone. And of course, if people still want to get rid of this form, they just simply click the no thanks button, and then the form will close. So this is what we call the email opt-in. What we're going to do now is add one step before this email opt-in. So we're going to clone this step over here and call this micro yes. I'm going to clone the step and put it in front of the email opt-in. So what we're going to do is ask for a micro commitment, because research has shown that by asking for a micro commitment, people are way more likely to say yes to you in the next step. So if we first ask them if they want to receive a discount, yes or no, if they say yes, they're way more likely to actually fill in the email opt-in and get inside your email list. We have tested this for more than 40 e-commerce brands for all of our own clients. And in most cases, this micro yes step increases the conversion of the sign up form. So that's why by default, we like to turn it on, but always make sure to split test it for your own. So how does this micro yes step look like? Right now, we just simply duplicated the email opt-in. So what we're going to do first is get rid of the input field because that's not necessary. I'm going to change the call to action button to yes, please. And we keep the second call to action button on no thanks. And then we're going to change this discount a bit. So we're going to say, do you want 20% off your first order? So we're simply asking if they want 20% off. And of course, people want 20% off. So they'll click yes, please. Increases the likelihood that they're going to say yes to the next step as well, where we ask for the email address. So this will boost the conversion rate. Of course, we can design it a bit nicer. So for example, what we can do, put this on one line and make this a bit bigger and only make 20% off bold so it really stands out. Then we're going to add some padding below, something like this. So this is what people see first. So do you want 20% off your first order? Yes, please. And then they will see this page. So this is the micro yes step or the micro commitment step. Next up, you want to add a teaser. So a teaser is basically a thing that people see on your website before they actually see the real pop-up form. So there are a lot of different settings that you can use. First of all, the style. So you can use a rectangle, a circle, or a corner. So I like to go with the rectangle version for the most part on desktop. And then if you scroll down, you can select the behavior. So you can select if you want to show this teaser after a form is closed, before displaying the form, or before displaying the form and after the form is closed. And that's the setting that I like to use. And then you can basically select some content, so some text. By default, it shows this gift icon. I don't like to use that, to be honest. I rather like to use a text. So let's use pop-ins and say save 20% now. Already an interesting one. And then we're gonna make this black. And then of course we need to make sure that the text is white. Center this. So now when people are visiting your store, they immediately see save 20% now. So this way people immediately see this, and when they click on it, it will open the form. And we've tested this multiple times, and the teaser does increase the conversion rate and the exact amount that are actually joining your email list. So not only the sign-up rate, but also the amount of people that join your email list. So now we have a teaser, we have the micro yes step, we have the email opt-in. One last thing that we need to do for the sign-up form is edit the success page. So this is the page that people see when they filled in their email address and clicked on the Get My Discount Now button. First of all, I want to make sure that it looks identical to the rest of the form. So we're going to add in the logo again, add blocks, image, Nike logo, just as an example. And then we're first going to change the headline. Let's change this. Your discount code is on its way to teach the people. And then a little text over here where we're going to say, please check your inbox for the confirmation message with your discount code. Didn't receive an email within 5 minutes. Please check your spam box. And then we want to highlight this even more, so make it bold. And let's change the font to pop-ins. Let's add some padding on top of here, like that. So this is a good success page because first of all, we have a headline that basically future-paces the situation. So we say your discount code is on its way. So we make people excited that they're getting their discount code. And we're saying, please check your inbox for the confirmation message with your discount code. So it's clear what you expect from them to check their inbox because there they can find the discount code. I'm never a big fan of giving away the discount code on the success page. I know there's a big debate in the email marketing industry and the e-commerce space that you should give away the discount code straight on the success page. I'm not a big fan of it with the reason that I like to train the people to actually open your emails, because if you're giving away the discount code now on this page, there's no reason for people to actually open your email. So what will happen, you're not training them to actually open your emails, and people are not opening your first welcome series email because why would they? They already have the discount code, so they can already buy. So this will lead to low open rates for the first email that you're sending to a new subscriber. And this sends a bad signal to email providers like Google and Outlook because they think, hey, this brand is sending an email to this person, but this person is not opening it. And this is the first email that they will be receiving. So next time we'll send this person an email, we're going to send it to the spam box because this people clearly doesn't want to have this email. So that's absolutely something we don't want. So I always like to guide people towards a welcome email with the discount code inside it. And I don't want to share the discount code already on this page. Next up, last thing that I want to say on the success page is that if they didn't receive an email within 5 minutes, please check your spam box because sometimes a brand has deliverability family issues. So in that case, it could be that your email is already landing in their spam box and you don't want these people to contact your customer support. Then your customer support has to answer them with, hey, please check your spam box. So by just saying it already on the success page, your customer support will thank you basically. So have this in your success page and people can find your email in the spam box when that's applicable, of course. And that's it. So this is a good desktop form to get started with. But now I want to show you how you can convert this desktop form into a mobile form. So what we're going to do is we're going to the desktop form, hit the three dots over here, hit clone and call this demo mobile. Continue. Then we're going to open the mobile version. And then at targeting at behavior, I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to say display on mobile only. And there you go. Now we only see a mobile version. First thing that I want to change is the rules for when people will see the sign up form. So I want to uncheck the when the visitor is exiting the page, because the exit intent trigger on mobile isn't that reliable. So sometimes people will get the form while they're not exiting the page. And this is not good for the user experience. So that's why on mobile, I like to turn it off. And the most important thing is to just double check if fonts are big enough or are too big, and if everything is clear and has good experience on mobile. Because, for example, if you go to the teaser, you see the teaser on mobile takes up a lot of space on mobile. It's the full bottom bar of your store, and it could be on your store that you have multiple things going on, like a loyalty system promotion or something else. So that's why this teaser, I like to make this a circle on mobile, so it's a bit smaller. And then, of course, you also need to adjust the text a little bit. So let's get rid of the off. Now we have saved 20% now. Let's make this a bit smaller like that. So now we have a smaller teaser, but it's still clearly visible for people. And this way you can already optimize this a little bit on mobile. Then we have the micro yes. And what we see is that the call to action button is pretty small. So what I like to do, if we scroll down, I'm going to change the height of the sign up form call to action button. Let's change it to 70. And let's also change the size of this tag. Right now it's on 20. Let's make this 30. So it's a lot bigger. And also let's change the no thanks to 18. And this is already a good size. Same applies to the email opt-in tab. So let's change the height of the call to action button to 70 and the text to 30 and the text of no thanks to 18 pixels like that. And then we can optimize this a little bit more. So we can make the 20% off a bit bigger, like 60. So it stands out a bit more. And let's change the input field as well. So we have to do that at the general styling settings. The input field height, let's change this to 70 as well. And let's change the font size of the text in here to 20, like that. This way, it's way more optimized for mobile already. And then finally, we have the success page. So first of all, we're going to change the font size to, let's say, 22. And that's basically it for the success page. And this is how you can optimize and tweak your sign-up form from desktop to mobile. So it basically gives your users a better experience and it's easier to read and it makes it easier for people to sign up with your sign-up form. So this is how you make a high converting sign-up form inside Klaviyo. Now let's talk about the top 10 mistakes you don't want to make with your sign-up form. So these are mistakes that I see oftentimes with other e-commerce brands. So the first mistake is that your offer is not good. So the success of your sign-up form hinges on the strength of your offer. To get people to subscribe, you need a compelling incentive. So as mentioned earlier, you have to ask yourself, what offer would entice people to join my newsletter? Because if you're on an e-commerce brand store, you see a sign-up form with a bad offer, you're not signing up. So the same goes for your audience, for your own e-commerce brand. So in general, anything less than 10% off won't be as effective. And of course, you have to consider your average order value. So if your AOV is $200, you have two options. You could offer 10% off, or you could offer $20 off. And which option do you think would convert better? Of course, it's $20 off because people's mind has a higher perceived value. But of course, you should always split test this for your own brand. Second mistake I often see is that people ask too many things in one sign-up form. So avoid asking for too many details in one step. Like I just showed you in the sign-up form creation, we only ask one thing. You have one input field and that's email. That's one step. Also want to collect the phone number, totally fine, but don't have it at the same step. You want to add this after the email opt-in step. Then you can ask for the phone number, because this way you're creating less friction. Less friction is more conversion. You already got their email address and now you can ask for the phone number. Because what will happen if people want to give the email address but not their phone number, they won't be signing up at all and you don't have their email address. And that's of course something you don't want. You want to make sure that you first have the email address, then you can capture the phone number if that's applicable for your brand. And the same goes for things like first name, last name, the birthday, stuff like that. If you want to gather those data, make sure it's a separate step in your sign-up form and not all in one step. And I see this go wrong all the time. Trust me, this will hurt your conversion rate if you do this. The second mistake I see all the time is that your time delay is too short or too long. So like I just showed you, the default setting that I like to use is that we have to wait 6 seconds for someone to be on your page before we show the sign-up form. And I also mentioned that this is a setting that you should split test for your own brand, because finding the sweet spot for your sign-up form time delay is crucial. So if you show it too soon, you'll disrupt the customer experience, which will lead to low sign-up rate, because you can imagine if you're on a store and immediately you get a sign-up form, you will probably perceive it as spam, and that's something you don't want. But if you wait too long, there are less and less people who actually see the form. So it might be that you have a high sign-up rate, but because almost no one is seeing the form, you're still ending up with a low amount of email subscribers. So you have to balance visibility with a positive user experience. So that's why I always recommend a time delay anything between the 4 to 12 seconds. The next mistake is that your sign-up form is too small. So too often I see sign-up forms that are way too small to catch anyone's attention. So in general, the bigger the better. You want your form to stand out and be noticed. And that's why an interesting A/B test is also to test a pop-up form versus a full screen form. The next mistake is that people use too much copy. So don't use too much copy. Just use a short headline, an input field, and a call to action button, and a micro copy, and that's it. So don't use any supporting text box. Like I already told you, any mention of your exclusive offers and promotions is just unnecessary. People already understand that they will receive this when they join your email list. And nobody wants to be overwhelmed with a lot of reading. People don't like that nowadays. So this will only significantly hurt your conversion rate. So keep it simple. The next mistake is that your offer is not in the headline. So the only reason that people are signing up for your newsletter is because of your offer. Show your offer in the headline. And I see this all the time, that many e-commerce brands are hiding their offer in the body copy, which you shouldn't have in the first place, but okay. But oftentimes I see headlines like, hey, how are you doing? And then in the body copy, then they talk about the offer. So the attention grabbing thing is the hey there instead of do you want 20% off? Which headline do you think will convert better? The second one, of course. So if your offer is hard to find, people will just close your form. So don't hide your offer. You want to make it as clear as possible, and you want to make it as big as possible so people truly understand what they get when they sign up. The next mistake is to use words like sign up and subscribe in your sign up form. And I already talked about this before. People in general don't like to sign up for things. So avoid these words. Think about the reason why people would sign up for your email list, and that's because of the offer. So use that in your headlines and in your call to action buttons. The next mistake is not having a separate mobile and desktop form. And again, I already talked about this. You should have two separate forms, simply because on mobile you have to make some tweaks to make it look good. So that's already a good reason to have two separate forms. And the next reason is that when you start doing A/B testing, you're gonna see differences between your desktop audience and your mobile audience. So some things, for example, a micro yes step could work really, really well on mobile, but not on desktop, or vice versa. So in that case, you want to make sure that you have two separate forms. So for example, on mobile, you can turn it on, but on desktop, you could turn it off. The next mistake that I often see is that your sign-up form loads too slow. So one of the biggest conversion killers for websites and also for sign-up forms is loading time, because a longer loading time is a massive conversion killer. So as I just showed you, you can use images in your sign-up form, which is great. It enhances the branding, but you do want to make sure that those images load fast. So what you want to do before implementing those images, that you run those images through a software like tinypng.com or squoosh.app, which will basically compress all the images and make it as small as possible. After that, you can upload it inside Klaviyo, and this way those images will load a lot faster than it used to, and this will just enhance the user experience and will boost your conversion rate. For mobile forms, it's just better to avoid using pictures altogether. Since on mobile, it really depends on the internet connection that people have. So that's why I always advise to skip out on images on mobile. And of course, you can have a logo as long as you make sure that you compress it. And the last mistake that I often see is that you give away the incentive on the success page. So like I just talked about, you don't want to give away the discount code on the success page. You want to train your people to actually open your emails, and you want to make sure that people open the first email that you send them. Otherwise, it will send a bad signal to the inbox providers like Google and Outlook, because if you send an email for the first time to someone and this person is not opening it, then obviously those inbox providers will think your email is spam, and the next time you email this person, Google will send this email straight to the spam box. So it's bad for your email deliverability, and you're not training your new email subscriber to actually open your emails. Now let's talk about the top 10 A/B tests that you should run for your sign-up form. So the secret to boosting your sign-up rate rate lies in constant A/B testing of your sign-up form. Because even with a solid blueprint like this guide, you still need to optimize and test different things to get the highest sign-up rate possible for your brand. Because each audience is different. So that's why I want to share the top 10 A/B tests that you should be running for your brand to get the highest conversion rate possible. And they're actually in order of the highest levers. So the first thing that you should be A/B testing is your offer. This is the biggest game changer for your sign-up rate, because a bad offer, even if it's designed in a beautiful way, will still yield a bad sign-up rate. But if you have a really good offer, but it's designed in a terrible way, will still get you a higher sign-up rate. So test out different offers for your brand and see what performs the best. So again, think of a buy one, get one free, a buy one, get one at 50% off, a free gift when you buy X, free digital product, free shipping, dollar amount off, a dollar amount off a certain amount, a percentage off when you have a subscription model, a cashback and early access to a sale, and again, my personal favorite, the mystery discount. And you do want to make sure that you take a holistic approach when you test different offers. So you don't just want to look at your sign-up rate, also at the conversion rate of the welcome flow attached to it and the total amount of revenue that this welcome flow is generating. Second A/B test is a micro yes versus no micro yes. So I already told you that in most cases, the micro yes step is basically increasing your conversion rate. But for some brands, for some audiences, it's simply not working. So that's why you should always split test this for your own brand. The next thing is the time delay. So I already talked about this. So test out different time delays to see what happens with the total amount of signups. So when you use a shorter time delay, then your signup rate will go up, but the total amount of signups will go down. And in the end, it's about the total amount of signups. Next A/B test is a pop-up form versus a full page form. So in some cases, we see that a full page form is performing better than a pop-up form. Pop-up form is like the industry standard. Still make sure to split test this for your own brand, because a full page form has a better visibility, and that's why for some brands, it yields better results. The next thing to A/B test is the headline copy. So the headline is the first thing that people see when they see your form. So you want to make sure that it grabs the attention while making it immediately clear what people can expect from you. So what you're offering. So headlines that you could test are something like save 20% now, get 20% now, take 20% now, unlock 20% off now, your discount awaits, or do you want 20% off? These are all different kind of headlines. And for some brands, we see that certain headlines work better than others. And the next A/B test is the copy of your call to action button. So the same that said about headlines applies to the call to action button. Make sure to test out different variations and see what works best for your audience. So examples could be save 20% off now, get 20% off now, take 20% off now, unlock my discount now, reveal my discount now, get my discount now, reveal the deal, or I want my discount. These are all variations. Split test it for your own brand. And again, the same applies to the micro copy, so the text underneath the main call to action button. So by default, we have this on no thanks, but there are different variations that you could split test. So something like no thanks, I'll pay full price, no thank you, no spam guaranteed, recommended by X happy customers, or rated 4.9 out of 5 by 5,000 customers, for example. And of course, split test having a micro copy versus not having a micro copy. A/B test number 8 that you could run is testing the colors in your designs. So you want to test a plain and simple form versus a fully designed form, for example. But you can also test a white form versus a black form. Or you could split test the color of the input field like I just showed you. And of course, the color of your call to action button. And just to clarify, this is not the highest lever because it's at number 8 of my top 10. But still, it can make a minor difference in terms of conversion rate. A/B test number 9 is image versus no image. So in the example desktop form that I showed you, we had an image. Also want to split test this versus a version without an image. Sometimes an image can distract people from the actual side of form. So sometimes for some brands, we see that using no image performs better. And of course, if you use an image, you want to test out different images to see what performs the best. For example, for one of our clients, we tested an image with a dog and an image without a dog. An image with a dog was performing way better than the image without a dog. So the general lesson that you should take, use an image with a dog in it. Just kidding. Still, you want to test different variations. And the last thing that you want to A/B test is the angle of your SMS sign up if this is applicable to your brand. So if you're using SMS, you want to make sure that you split test different angles for your SMS sign up. So you want to see which angle works the best for your brand and audience. So for example, what you can do if your email opt-in gives away 20% off, you can use the same method for the SMS opt-in. So you still say, do you want 20% off now? Fill in your phone number. But the different angle that you can take is that you give a higher discount for SMS signups. So let's say your email opt-in was 10% off. For your SMS signup, you can use 20% off. And the last angle that you can test is that you treat your SMS list like a VIP club. So people can get access to the VIP club when they sign up for your SMS list. So those are 3 types of angles that you can test for your own e-commerce brand. And now you might wonder, okay, Okay, cool. You just told me about what kind of A/B test I should be running, but how can I set up these A/B tests? So let's dive into my Klaviyo demo account again. So let's go to the desktop form, and here in the top left corner, you see create A/B test. So when we hit the button, we can fill in a name of the test. So for example, offer test, and then offer A is 20% off, like the default version, and offer B is a mystery discount. So then we click create test, and then here you have an A version, the 20% off, that's the current version. Then you can select B mystery discount. Now what we're going to do is that we're going to say, do you want a mystery discount? So we're going to make these changes to the email opt-in and to the teaser as well. And once you've done that, you're going to select continue to test settings. And this is important. So what I like to do is put the weight on manual. So it basically only sends 50% version A, 50% version B. I don't like to put this on automatic because then you're going to give the freedom to Klaviyo to decide which version is performing the best. And what I often see is that Klaviyo has a preference for a certain version while there's not like enough volume to really make that conclusion. So that's why I like to put it on 50-50 and I want to be in control basically. But I also like to do winner selection. I don't want to automatically end the test. Again, I want to be in control. I want to decide when I want to end this split test. And once you selected that, you can add some notes about the test if you want. And you can publish the A/B test by clicking this button in here. And that's how you set up an A/B test for your sign-up form. Now, if you want to have access to this full guide that I just discussed with you in a document, please click on the link underneath this video in the description. And then you can download this guide for free. And as a free bonus, you also get 30 sign-up forms that are high converting as a swipe file directly available for you if you download the free guide. So again, click on the link in the description and download this guide now. And that's how you can grow your email list and convert 8 to 12% of your website traffic into loyal email subscribers while tripling the amount of email revenue. And remember, capturing the email addresses is just the first step, because after that, you need to make sure that you have a high converting welcome series flow in place. Without it, you could be losing out on a huge potential of revenue. So click here to watch my video on how to create a high converting welcome series flow. And with this flow, you can take your new email subscribers and turn them into loyal repeat buyers for your brand. And also don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you want more content on email marketing for e-commerce brands. Thanks for watching and I hope to see you in the next one.